I'm going to answer some questions in the Q&A today. I'm going to start off with the one I've just mentioned, which is how to lose weight after 40, even when you're eating well. So what a lot of women will find is that when they hit their 40s, they find that things that they did perhaps in their 30s no longer work. So you could be exercising the way that you've always exercised, and maybe you are quite aware of what you're eating as well. You know, healthy eating is something that's always top of mind for you, but you're just finding that you're actually not getting the results that you used to before, and you don't understand why. Now, as you hit 40, obviously there are huge changes that take place in your body, but they actually start from when you're actually in your mid-30s. So your hormone changes and also your metabolism. A lot of women feel like their metabolism has slowed down. And naturally, as you age, you will find that there is a slight change in the way your body processes calories, and you can't eat the way that you used to eat. And obviously a lot of this is to do with hormones as well. But when you find when you're older, if you're not actually doing any strength training, your muscle, you're not actually putting on lean muscle mass, you won't burn as many calories. And now muscle mass will decline as we age. It's just a natural process of aging. Everyone will lose muscle mass a certain percentage each year. So it's really important to make sure that you adjust your exercise and training to this, because you want to try and preserve muscle mass, which will help you increase your metabolism.
If this is resonating with you, make sure to pause and grab my free weight loss guide for women over 40. It walks you through simple, doable steps that are proven to work for this stage of life. The link is right in the description below.
Now, metabolism, as I mentioned, naturally slows down as we age. We start to see a lot of loss of muscle. That's why it's important to do resistance training. And a lot of women are frightened to do resistance training because they just think that it's not for them. They think training with weights is something that men do, but it's not. Women should be actually exercising with weights as well. You need to have a combination of your exercise regime. You need to have a combination of exercises. Often women feel like just doing cardio is going to be the answer for them. It's not. Cardio is not as effective as maybe a 20 minute weight training session, lifting something, some weights or something, or doing a bit of resistance training. You can even use your body weight. So it's really important. We have to adapt and change the way we exercise as we get into our 40s and 50s, because the things that we did when we were younger will no longer work. We are actually got hormones that are fluctuating, what changes. We've got a drop in estrogen, drop in progesterone. And obviously, as you go more into your 40s, you will find that it makes a massive big difference as we reach that, menopausal age. So you do need to actually exercise and watch what you eat. You would ideally, you want to go into slight more calorie deficit. You don't need as many calories as you perhaps needed in your 30s and 20s and 30s. You need to reduce your calorie intake slightly, and you need to move more. Now, you don't necessarily have to just keep going to the gym. That's not important. You can actually go walking, and I walk twice a day. I have a dog, so it's a little bit easier for me to go out for a walk, but I tend to walk a lot, and I'll find that's my go-to. So if I can't, do any resistance training, if I can't work out at home, I haven't got time, I will actually go and take a walk. And I find walking really does help me to manage my weight along with all the nutritional changes. And it's very, very important that you do walk and get approximately 7,000 to 10,000 steps in a day. I know it's a lot. 10,000 is a lot, trying to fit into your day when you've just started walking. So just aim for 7,000, whatever you can do to start off with. So take yourself out for a walk for about half an hour to start off with, twice a day. Fit it in wherever you can. It's really important. This is going to really help to manage your weight. You don't have to do these crazy long cardio sessions in the gym, but spending an hour and a half on the treadmill, number one, it's very boring, very time consuming, and there's better ways to be able to manage and lose weight. Now, the other thing is that you need to look at is nutrition. And, the best foods that will support hormonal balance through perimenopause and menopause. There are certain foods which you will know what they really are. It's just making sure that you're being more mindful of taking them in and eating these foods every day. So trying to be consistent with food. You do need to take in protein. It's really important. Whether you're in perimenopause, menopause, protein is in it. It's an essential nutrient, part of the rest of our balanced meals that we need to take. So you need to take protein, and protein will help maintain muscle, and it will balance blood sugar as well. You'll find when you have protein, you'll feel fuller, so more satiated. You won't be feeling so hungry, and you won't be craving all that rubbish. You know that you want to crave certain chocolates and processed foods. If you eat enough protein, and then you'll find that you'll do great. So aim for about 20 grams to 30 grams each meal per day. Protein consumption, especially when you're in menopause, is important. And your healthy fats as well. Fats are good for you. Obviously, in the past, fats have been known not to be good for you, but particular fats, not all fats. So we're talking about the essential fats, your omega-3s, your most important fats like flax seeds, walnuts, oily fish. The fats that avocados are good for you. You need to eat those. They're really good, along with your protein as well. So making the right choices is important. And it's, again, like I said, it's not just doing it for one day. It's trying to be consistent with your intake of nutrients and making sure that you are doing it as like a lifestyle, and it's going to really benefit you. These are, I call them, very hormonal friendly foods. And shortly I'll share with you my experience of my weight loss and how I've managed to lose over 40 pounds and how I did it after feeling like I've lost control of my body. I will explain to you how I did it as well. Fiber-rich vegetables. We all know vegetables are important. A really important part of our meal. So our balanced meal daily. So make sure you're taking the right amount of vegetables in. Not all vegetables suit everyone. Some people find that and they get bloated with certain vegetables. So see what works for you. So have a mixed array of vegetables on your plate. You could try certain things like chickpeas as well and mix them in with your salad. Butter beans, all these different beans that you can get. You could mix them in with your salads as well. There's so many recipes out there, and I'll be launching some recipe packs and free recipe packs as well that you could download and get some good ideas for meals as well. Processed sugar and alcohol. Well, we all know we need to avoid these. When you get to the age of 40, 45, 50, 55, even beyond, you know what you should be eating or you shouldn't be eating. That's not the difficult part. You're bombarded by, information such as I am giving you today. You know what you're supposed to eat. But the real chore, should I say, or the real, the hard thing is being able to eat consistently the right foods. That's the hard bit, and making it part of your lifestyle. Now, I always say do the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time you eat healthy foods, 20% you've got a little bit of leeway, because obviously we've got social events, we've got weddings, parties, barbecues, all sorts of things going on, and there's some certain foods that you want to enjoy. You might want to enjoy a glass of wine or champagne or whatever you drink. I mean, I don't drink, so I don't know, whatever you feel like drinking. And you should be able to, because we don't want no guilt around food. We don't want to feel guilty. As women, we spend all our life feeling guilty about certain things and certain things that we eat. And food is meant to be enjoyed. It's pleasurable. You are meant to enjoy food. But at the same time, food is also there to fuel us for survival. So, it's important we find that balance. And balance is the key word. We've got to make sure that we're not indulging in all the things that are not good for us, that's going to cause us inflammation, that are going to play havoc with our hormones. So we actually do know the right foods to eat and the foods that we shouldn't eat. Now, again, I'll be doing a lot more videos on YouTube and explaining to you the foods that, you can eat that will really help kickstart your metabolism. And again, consistency is a word that I'll be using a lot. It's a powerful word, and consistency is important. So if you want to get that result that you want with your nutrition, with your health and well-being, and anything in life, we have to keep consistent. So strength training, we spoke about strength training. A lot of women ask me, how often should I exercise? And I would basically say to you, try and fit in 3 exercise sessions a week when it comes to your resistance training. That's what I do. I do 3 full body workouts. They take me about 30 to 40 minutes, 3 times a week. I also walk and I also do yoga as well. But when you're starting out, just try to aim for 3 sessions a week. That is fine. You haven't got a whole lifetime to spend on exercising, going to the gym. You have other things to do as well. You're a busy woman. If you're a woman in your 40s and 50s, I know you're busy. You're extremely busy. You're probably still working and you're probably looking after grandkids, or your own children are left home. You've got other responsibilities. You're probably looking after an aging parent or looking out for an aging parent. You have so much to do. And then you've got to make time to be able to enjoy yourself and look after yourself. So you haven't got all day, to exercise. So that's why I always say, the days where you can't fit in a resistance training session, just go for a walk, because not only is it really good for your mindset, it's really good to get that fresh air and be part of nature. There's something amazing about being outside in nature that really does balance you. It really calms you down. I wasn't always a keen advocate for walking. I kind of felt like if I didn't get a sweat on and I didn't have a workout in the gym, I wasn't doing anything beneficial for my health. But that soon changed when I hit my, menopausal age, that perimenopausal age. I started understanding the importance of slowing down and doing things that are going to actually benefit me mentally, physically as well, and emotionally. So yes, try and go for walking. Let me just have a look at the other questions that I get here. So we mentioned about healthy fats and reducing. Alcohol is a big question that I get asked. Alcohol, obviously, we all know excessive alcohol is not going to do us any benefit, especially in midlife as well. And it can also increase some of the hormonal symptoms we get during menopause as well. So I would say to you, just cut back on your alcohol. I do know people enjoy the odd glass of wine, but I would say to you, just be very mindful of how much you actually drink. And it can actually slow your progress to fat loss. And you will find if you excessively drink alcohol, you will accumulate a lot of weight around the midsection. So that's the section, abdominals, stomach, that a lot of women complain about when they reach this, like midlife 50s, 40s. They start complaining that they're actually putting a lot of weight on, because our body naturally changes because of the hormone, fluctuations, especially, the estrogen levels drop down and testosterone, it says bye-bye, and progesterone says see you later. And we do actually notice a massive big change in our bodies. And that's something that you need to take into consideration if you know you drink too much. And if you're drinking too much, you're fully aware. And instead of going cold turkey, which it doesn't really work for a lot of people, just reduce your intake weekly to be able to manage it. The other question I get asked is how do you get back into your fitness if you've not exercised for a while? Now, you've just got to start from the beginning. Just start off really small. And again, like I said to you before, a 10-minute walk, it will be amazing for you. Try just a 10-minute walk.
If this is resonating with you, make sure to pause and grab my free weight loss guide for women over 40. It walks you through simple, doable steps that are proven to work for this stage of life. The link is right in the description below.
Ideally, try and go for exercises that are not a lot of impact. That's why I kept mentioning walking, because you can vary how you walk, whether you're going to go, what route you walk, whether you're going to go up a hill, and there's no impact. So it's a lot better. I personally feel and believe walking is a lot better than jogging and running. Now, all the joggers out there and everyone who runs will probably disagree, but I know, and the science shows as well, that you can burn a lot of calories when you're walking, and the benefits are huge. And there is not impact like that, the way you would get impact from running on your joints. So it's a good form of exercise, it's a good all-rounder. Okay. So going back to, if you get back into exercise after a break, then the key is to start off slowly and maybe go for a walk after you've had your dinner, or maybe just do a few squats a day. You don't have to do a whole 30-45 minute training session. You don't have to do that. You can just do like a 5 minute, workout, a few squats, maybe a few push-ups. Don't have to be full body push-ups. You can even do on your knees. The whole key is to just do something. It's not about comparing yourself to somebody else or trying to achieve like a standard you're not there at the moment. You don't have to do too much, because what you'll do, if you overwhelm yourself, you won't do it again. And also the most important thing as well, especially at our age, you've got to be careful you don't open yourself up for injury by just going crazy trying to work out like some mad high impact workout. Just go slowly and just be mindful of your joints and what you're doing, and your stretching and your warm up and your cool down. So when you're changing things in your life and you're changing habits, so we've talked about alcohol, walking, food, we've spoken about starting exercise, it wouldn't make sense for you to bring all these changes about in one go. So pick one habit, good habit. So whether it be nutrition, whether it be the walking, whether it be reducing your alcohol intake, or watching that you reduce your processed foods, just pick one habit a week and change that, and then add something on after a second week. And the best way to do it is by keeping a journal or a diary so that you can write it down. Because if you just kind of keep it in your head, it won't happen. But if you've got it written down, then you're progressing and what you're achieving. And it's great to look back on when you've actually achieved something and you've stuck to it. So that's important. And the next question that I get is, how can I manage stress and anxiety during midlife? Oh boy, we know life can be challenging. And as women in our 40s, late 40s, 50s, we have to deal with a lot. We've got a lot going on, and it's hard, especially when you're not feeling fantastic yourself, because there's some crazy crap going on with your hormones, and your menstrual cycle's gone bizarre if you have one, or you're reaching that menopausal age, you don't know what's going on, and you feel like you're going crazy, and your body's not doing what it's supposed to do, and your body's not looking the way it used to look, and you're doing the same things. We know we've got a lot going on. And then it just makes it worse, because then what happens is our stress goes up, our cortisone levels go up, belly fat comes on because we're so stressed out. And to top that off, all we want to do is eat chocolate, because we're feeling like we've got these crazy cravings because we're feeling so stressed. Or you want to have a glass of wine, or whatever it may be that is your weakness, or you turn to when you're feeling quite stressed. So it's hard, and we have to manage our stress. People don't talk about this enough. Stress is probably one of the worst things that women in their 40s and 50s are dealing with as well. We keep thinking about all this belly fat we're putting on. We think it's our nutrition, we think it's our exercise, but actually stress is a huge contributor to weight gain in our midsection. So you've got to be careful. Obviously, the hormones play a massive big part, but if you're getting your hormones sorted out, maybe you're on hormone replacement therapy, perhaps you're doing other things to get your hormones sorted out, whatever it may be, natural forms or whatever, but you're still putting weight on, it could be because you're not managing your stress. So please manage your stress, because stress is definitely something that can really affect you mentally, physically, and it's just so bad. You need to manage your stress. Now, deep breathing, as I mentioned, 3 to 5 minutes deep breathing is really important. That will lower your cortisone. So that's really something that you should consider to help manage your stress. The other thing is, again, we mentioned regular movement, walking, yoga, even stuff that you enjoy, like dancing. I mean, when was the last time you actually took time to do something that you enjoy as an activity? So dancing or whatever it may be, So just make time to do the things that you enjoy. And the other thing, which I know about, we all know about, is setting boundaries. So stress can be brought on by certain people that we know in our environment or in our circle. And sometimes these people we may not be able to get rid of, because they could be close family or, close friends. But all you can do is limit your exposure to these people so that you're not put into a position where you're feeling really stressed. and learning to say no a little bit more often, which I know a lot of women in their 40s and 50s struggle with, actually saying no. Try and make time for yourself. You spend all your life looking after somebody else, whether it be your children, whether it be your partner, whether it be parents, but whoever it may be, you need to make time for you. Because if you don't make time for you, then how are you going to be able to do all the things that you want to do or be any use to anyone else? But you need to, for yourself, look after you. You're number one. So set your boundaries. That's really, really important. And again, if you're around toxic people, that will create stress. Creating stress will impact your cravings. It will impact your sleep. It will impact so much. And then it's like a cycle. Then it will impact your weight. You'll gain more weight, and you'll never be able to find peace of mind or peace of body. So you need to make sure that you set boundaries and learn to say no. And talking about sleep, which is very important as well. You know, sleep is so underrated, but we are getting a lot more conversations around the importance of sleep. Aim to sleep at least 7 to 8 hours. It's a foundation for hormonal regulation. Honestly, it really is. There's so much goes on when you actually sleep. Your body needs to relax because that's when it's doing all the magic. So all your workouts and everything will be in vain if you are not sleeping. So try and prioritize your sleep. Get a good sleep routine in place, sleep hygiene. Make sure that you're winding down in the evening. You hear about it, might sound like an old record. The reason we talk about it is because it's so important. You know, sleep, lack of sleep could lead to stress, often leads to cravings, irrational thoughts of wanting food, thinking about food, not being able to have clarity of mind, not being able to focus because you're just thinking constantly, oh, I feel hungry, and your hormones are out of sync. And it's even worse because if you're a menopausal woman, you're going to find that your hormones are not there at the circus. They're just crazy. And then you're not sleeping properly. And again, I do understand when you go through the menopause and you've got symptoms, you might have hot flashes, you might be feeling really good. You need to go and see a health professional, your GP, your doctor, and get that sorted out. Whether it be some sort of natural hormonal remedy, because I understand not everybody can take HRT from choice or they just can't take it. But you do need to sort your hormones out as best as you can, especially if they're impacting your sleep. Please don't suffer. I suffered for years with my sleep. Even before I got to that age where my hormones were fluctuating, I suffered for years and years and years. And I wish I took the lack of sleep seriously and sorted it out a long time ago, because I was one who was always working till late, online till late, on my phone till late. And I kept saying, tomorrow, I'll sort it out. But I got myself into such a cycle that didn't. And then obviously when I reached that age, my hormones were going crazy, and that impacted my sleep even more. So please do sort out your sleep. And don't be afraid to ask for support, whether it be from a coach or a therapist, a safe community. Don't carry everything alone. As women in their 40s and 50s, we're so used to just doing it all on our own. We just think we're superwoman. I can sort this out. I need to look after so-and-so. Please don't. Go and talk to somebody, and do not expect to, do everything on your own, because you can't. Get help. Okay. And the next question is body image, self-confidence. How can you feel confident? This is something I hear all the time. Our bodies change, and we can feel like we don't recognize ourselves anymore. We look in the mirror, and sometimes, even things like when you got photographs at home or of your younger self, or even if it was just like 5 years ago, and you don't look like that now. You might put weight on, or because your hormones are fluctuating, and it makes you feel down because you want to, look like that again. How can I look like that again? You feel like and it just triggers you. So what do? We don't want to put the photographs away, do we? Because that's a part of our life. We want good memories, that's us. It does make you feel down. Again, there are things that you can do. There are, but you don't have to do it all in one go. This is what I'm saying. You do not have to do it all in one go. So, confidence doesn't come from, looking the way you looked when you were 25. No, it's not about that. It comes from actually being proud of you as a human being, who you are now, this different stage of your life. Think about all the things that you accomplished since that age, 10, 15 years ago, how you were now, and all the things that you accomplished. So it's important to try and reflect on, positivity as well at a time where you might be feeling a bit crappy. You might be thinking, oh, I put too much weight on. I don't look like what I looked like in my 25s when I was 30. I want to look like that. Or, just think of everything you've actually achieved as well. And yes, you can be in the best shape for now. You could be even look better than what you were when you were 25. But you need to actually embrace who you are as an individual, who, how much you developed and grown as a human being. Be proud of being at this stage of your life, and everything else we can handle. The weight gain, all the rest of it, the hormone fluctuations, we can handle that. That we've got solutions for that. There are solutions out there for you to feel like yourself again. Speak to yourself in a way, instead of saying, I hate my thighs, think about it in a different way. Let's turn that on its head. My legs have carried me so far to this age. Actually, I don't hate my legs or my thighs. I'm mobile. I've got mobility. I'm moving. I'm walking. So it's a mindset thing. So we just need to think differently. And as soon as we start thinking differently, we start feeling better about ourselves. So it's just flipping our thought process over. And that really is important, to keep that positive mindset and be proud of who you are. Celebrate the strength of you and not the size of you. So think about it. You're a strong woman. I'm a strong woman. I've got this far. I'm a strong woman. And so are you. Think about all the things that you've done. Reflect on all the great stuff you've done. Your age and the way you look and your size doesn't really define you. When I say it doesn't really, I understand if you're carrying a lot of weight, that can impact your health. And we can do something about that. Honestly, we really can. But what I'm saying, it doesn't define who you are as an individual. You're still the same person, but you're exactly the same person. You haven't lost your value just because you're 10, 15 years older. Please do understand that. Give yourself a bit of grace. Okay? Especially if you're having doubts at the moment. I don't know who's watching this video, if anyone's watching it or not, if anyone will go back to watch it. But I do want you to know, if you're a woman in your 40s and in your 50s, and you really do feel low and you feel like you've got no self-worth, I want you to know that you're an amazing person. All the things you've achieved, all the things you've done. I'm sure if I had a coffee with you and we sat down and to speak, I'd be really impressed with everything you've achieved and done in your life. I'm sure I would be. So remember, your waistline, your worth isn't measured by your waistline. It isn't. Your joy, energy, and purpose are what light you up. It's important to remember that. And like I said, there are solutions out there to be able to help you lose weight, to feel good about yourself, but do not put your value on a number. Last question that I had that I can answer today. People said they're feeling a little bit lost now that their kids and their children have grown up and their role has changed and they don't know what to do with themselves. And this is one that I had real difficulty dealing with my children. My girls, I've got 3 girls left home. It was really difficult. I felt completely lost. I didn't know. I wasn't prepared for the feeling that I had. And I'm sure there might be some of you who are going through that now. If your children are now embarking on the next stage of their life, perhaps they're going to leave home to go to college, university, or whatever it may be, and you're dreading it. Maybe it's your first child, and you're absolutely dreading it. It's hard. And I have got a video on my channel about that empty nest feeling. I will try and link it below somewhere if you want to watch it and see if that helps. But it's a very challenging, difficult time as a mum, and for your dad and for dads, but obviously more so, I think, for mums, especially if you've really kind of spent a lot of time with your children. Maybe you've only been working part-time or whatever, or your main purpose in life have been your children for a long time, and it's hard when they leave home. But you just got to remember that your roles change slightly, and it's a time where it's the beginning of a new chapter for you, and you've spent years going to work, looking after your family, and like your children are grown and they're leaving home, and it's time for you to spend on yourself. And now you can spend time on your fitness. Maybe you couldn't focus fully. You could focus more on your nutrition. Maybe before you were making meals for the whole family and there were things that you wanted to eat and the kids didn't, but now you can focus on you, find yourself, make time for yourself. So it's time for you to actually give yourself permission to explore your life in a different way. Be adventurous. Go and do all the things that you couldn't do. Maybe you feel like doing another course or learning something or learning a new hobby, art classes, dance classes, music classes, something, walking groups, anything. Maybe it's time for you to do something else. And even with your partner, if you've got a partner, spend more time together now. Before you couldn't, because your attention was divided between your children, because obviously that's natural, isn't it? So again, it's you're going on to look at the positives of this new chapter in your life rather than thinking of it as a negative thing, which I did. I actually did really dwell on the negativity of it. The impact of it was enormous. I was feeling very lost, although I had a very fulfilled life. I was working and I was doing my own different things, but I still felt a part of my life had been taken. Like, it's almost without, a lot of women have described it as almost like a grieving process, which sounds really weird because your children are still here, but you feel like you've lost someone, but you haven't. You've actually gained your independency to do what you want to do. And then you can focus on your health and well-being, which is very important because you want to be the best version of yourself. And you've got all that life ahead of you. So you want to be healthy and strong and focus on you. So those were just some of the questions that I was sent through various social media platforms. And I've got so many questions, lots of questions from women in their 40s and 50s.
If this video helped you, I would love it if you'd give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe. I have so much more content coming your way on weight loss, hormones, energy, and thriving in midlife. And don't forget, if you would like more help during menopause with weight loss, then don't forget to download my free weight loss guide. The link is below. If you enjoyed today's video, then you might also enjoy this one here.